Hello, and you are very welcome to this pit stop for Totemic. This is a game designed by Chris Hamm for 1 to 2 players, taking around half an hour to play. It's published by Kolossal Games and it is launching on Kickstarter on the 3rd of December 2019. And please note that this pit stop is filmed with prototype components. In Totemic, we're going to go through the 2-player rules, and I'll mention the solo rules towards the end of the video. But in a 2-player game, each player is going to take on the role of one totemic animal with a starting amount of power and then an ability, and they're looking to reduce their opponent down to 0 power, and the first player to do that will win 1 round, and it's recommended you play best 2 of 3. On a player's turn, they have 3 options available to them. The first option is the draw ability. Now there's a lineup of 3 cards here. You ignore that when you draw. You simply draw the top card off the deck. And that secretly comes into your hand. And the fact that it's secret is very much part of the game because you're going to be attacking each other eventually. When we look on here, this is one of the standard cards in the game. There are 16 of them which are red and black, and they're going to appear in every game. Each animal, however, comes with their own 2 unique cards, and they'll get mixed into the deck, and they will change up what powers are available as well as these abilities, depending on which of the animals you choose to play with. On the card you've drawn, you're going to check and see its strength for combat, and you're also going to have a look at its power. Now, you're not going to be able to do this ability. That is done via a different action, but it's possible that the action you can do can trigger that ability, so it is something to consider. Then when you've drawn that, you're going to have to discard down every time to your hand size. So you'll look at the cards in your hand. In this case, we've got one of our own badger cards here and a couple of others. Perhaps we'll look to get rid of that card, and we've returned to our hand of 3. Now the opponent doesn't know which card we've drawn, which brings some uncertainty into the game. The second thing you can do is invoke, and that's when you do interact with this lineup of cards. You simply choose a card, you move it halfway out, and then you trigger its ability. Now in this case, for this speed, the eagle has chosen it, your opponent loses 3 power. That's simple enough. This badger will go down from 16 to 13, but different things in the game will trigger the abilities of the different animals. In this case, the badger, each time you lose any amount of power, your opponent loses 1 power. So the eagle has in fact damaged himself because I guess the badger is good at having a counter-attack. And again, once this has been resolved, this then will come into the eagle's hand. They will look at their cards and they'll choose one to throw away, and they will return themselves to 3 different cards. Now the third thing you can do on your turn is you can do a challenge as your action, but you'll also note that this card that just came out of the deck here has got challenge, so you could invoke and trigger a challenge, or you can just straight up choose it as your action to do. Either way, it's going to work in the same way. So let's say that Badger has triggered a challenge by invoking this courage card. Over to Eagle, and Eagle now has got 3 different options. They could just accept the challenge. So we'll go through what an accept looks like, and we'll go through the other 2 options quickly. If it's accepted, you're going to check and see what power the totem is at, and it's always going to start each round at 5, and we'll see how it goes up. That is what is at stake. That's how much power the loser is going to lose. Then each player is going to choose 2 cards from the hand, and all they're looking at here are these strength here. So the maximum you can have is 16 with 2 8s. So Eagle will play those as their challenge cards, and then the badger will come and have a look and see the best they can do, which isn't great because they've got 2 1s here. So perhaps they'll just accept they're going to lose this one and play their 2 1s and keep their 7 for next time. Once both players have chosen their cards, we flip them over. This is 15 to 2, which is a bit of a devastating defeat there, but still only 5 power would be lost. So Badger then would adjust their power rating and not forgetting to kick in their ability. Then all the cards from the challenge would go. Each player would refill back up to their hand size, and then because this came from an invoke power, Eagle would then get to take this courage card and do the usual discard 1 card from their hand, so that they're always at their hand size as discussed previously. So that's as easy as a challenge could be. It's a challenge, it's accepted, and the amount of power lost is going to be 5. There are 2 other things you can do. Let's say that Eagle did challenge Badger, and Badger was thinking, actually I've got a good hand of cards here, I might win. It's possible for the other player to then threaten back to the original player and say, okay, I threaten you, let's make this slightly higher stakes. And apologies for the prototype component, this fight is now worth 10 power, and whoever loses is going to lose 10. Maybe Eagle's feeling cocky, and they'll say, that's fine, I'll threaten back. And it goes up to 15. And at any point, each player can accept or threaten. But let's say, just for example, Badger is thinking, maybe I'm not so confident anymore, I can't afford to lose 15, and they certainly can't at the moment. They've got the last option, which is to submit. They forego any resolution of this challenge, and they will simply lose 5 power. And then each player can discard face down 2 cards from their hand, refill up again, ready for the next challenge. And this drawing, invoking and challenging each other will go on. This will always reset to 5, as I said, at the end of every turn. But it will go on until one player has been reduced to just 0 power, and the other player will be the winner. If there's a tie ever in a challenge, or at the time when we get below 0, if both players happen at the same time, whoever's got dominance at the time, and it's simply a dominance card, is going to be the winner of that challenge or of the whole game. And there are powers which will cause you to swap dominance backwards and forwards between each other. So that's how you play a 2-player game of Totemic. Now, when you're playing a solo game, you will still choose one of these animals, you will still put your cards in the deck, but you will end up drawing cards which will make a totem pole of hierarchy of different animals. And you'll be fighting against them with just your base power, looking to defeat them and work your way all the way up. Currently there are 10 animals available in the game, and as to what's going to happen from the Kickstarter campaign, I cannot comment on that. However, that is how you play Totemic. This has been a Game Pit Stop. My name is Ronan. For all of our Pit Stop videos, please check out the Dice Tower YouTube channel. For our actual opinions on gaming, please check out the Game Pit podcast, and thank you.